Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to end up combining a couple of different things. One, we're doing the 600,000 subscriber video, and we're also going to be raising money for two different causes. And I'll get into them in a second. So, let's wait for people to start coming in. I hope I have everything set up right. And let me get this out over Twitter. How is everybody doing today? I'm not saying anything. Come on. There we go. All right. Hello. I'm going to get to what we're going to be talking about and raising money for here in just a second. Let me get this put out over Twitter. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mopey Lonesome. Getting stuff started off. What's a band you've been listening to lately? Lady Gaga. I'm sorry. I know people are going to make fun of me for that, but that's all right. Okay. So today we're going to be raising money. The money from this stream is going to go to two different causes. One is a children's home. Thank you, Raging Radio. Can't hang out, busy with some personal stuff. Just wanted to say hey and donate to the cause. Okay, so thank you. One is a children's home. I'm going to try to, well, I guess not. The program that caught my eye is they have a program for teen mothers who are age 16 to 22. So I guess not just teens, who are homeless. So, and it provides a place for them and their infants. This same network also does all kinds of stuff when it comes to homeless kids in particular, or young people, I guess. They have a program for 16 to 21-year-olds to kind of help them bridge the gap and get back on their feet. There's crisis centers for 10 to 17-year-olds. It's just this endless list of programs. They have street outreach, a whole bunch of stuff. And then the other one is Trans Lifeline. And if you don't know what they do, they help people get documents when they need them after they've transitioned, something along those lines. This was recommended that they may need help. They may have some additional workload because some of the legislation that's going on right now. So this is going to be going to both causes. We'll divide it up. All right. So now that we have that part, let's see. Thank you, Jonathan Langley. Thank you, War Baby. Thank you, James. Hello, Punk Sai. Thank you, Brady Holloway. We all live together. Thank you, John Campbell, for a good cause. Thank you, Mary Ann Limpa. Thank you, Patrick Hoyle. Hey, Bo, what sort of treatments have you seen or experienced that has helped people who suffer with PTSD? The number one thing that I have seen that has been effective in my state is dogs, or the therapy dogs. There's also a program that does the same thing with horses, and it's been incredibly effective. The most effective process I have seen was only in Colorado at the time, and it involved puppies and a form of exotic agriculture that isn't available everywhere. Those were the two that I've seen. As far as for combat vets, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of PTSD. I don't know if it's all treated the same way, but that was without a doubt that's been the most effective that I've seen. Thank you, Linwood Jackson. Ramadan Mubarak. Mopey Lonesome left. Tracy Matthew, thank you. Pandem 101. Hey, Bo. How's it going? Thank you for your support of trans people. We need it, especially with the new Florida bill causing private. Yeah, there's if you don't know, there's a bunch of legislation that's going on right now, some of which seems to actually criminalize parents helping their kids. With everything going on, I haven't been able to deep dive into the legislation yet, but I know that every person I know that's their passion. That's what they follow. They're like, hey, can you kind of help us out here? So here we are. When you have people that you know are always on point on a topic and everybody is kind of saying this is getting way out of hand, you want to help draw attention to it. Thank you, Nilo Rapard. Thank you, David Gehrig. My beard is better. Maybe. I'm going to need a photo. Thank you, Ryan Wilmington. Solidarity. Fork tines up or down in the dishwasher? I'm going to up. Sherwin L., thank you. Let's see. Hovi Nage. I'm sure I butchered that. I apologize. Thank you. Adam Rush, thank you. Always happy to help out a good cause or two. Also, congrats on hitting 600K. 1 million, here we come. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Audrey Brown. Thank you. As a home daycare provider, I have one teen mom. I take CCAP kids, parents who get help from the state. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, Sherwin L. Thank you, Michelle Picard. Thank you for supporting such great causes. Love your show. Thank you. Jess, $10 to each cause. Thank you. Douglas Lawler. Thank you. Ronald Malate. Thank you. Keep up the fight. Thank you, Mackenzie Drake. Thank you, Linda Chelly. Thank you, Jennifer Savage. Thank you so much. What you do is so important. Well, what y'all do is important. I just kind of act as the focal point. But thank you, MRF1 She. Solidarity from across the pond. Thank you, Chadi Alhaj Kadur. Syrians are stripped of refugee protection in Denmark. Any thoughts? I haven't seen it yet. I've been trying to figure out the refugee cap in this country right now. I mean, I'm aware that it happened. I'm not sure exactly what the implications of it. I'm not familiar with their refugee system. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Sharon Bartmasser. Well deserved. Kevin T, thank you. How do I speak with a friend about the police when he claims all police are bad and I challenge him 100% are bad? Okay, so there's a philosophical idea that all cops are bad. Okay, you've probably heard that said another way. And the idea is that they all chose to enforce an unjust law at some point. That's the philosophy behind it. If you're going to try to argue against that, if that's their philosophical makeup, you won't be successful. Because if that is something that they have committed to, that you have a moral responsibility for any law that you enforce, the reality is everybody knows that there are some unjust laws. So as arguing against it philosophically, you're not going to get anywhere, because it's, I mean, it is what it is. If the only thing you would be able to do would be to argue against the rhetoric and say that it isn't helpful, and they're going to argue against that. If you have somebody that has adopted that philosophy, you're not going to be able to do much to change it, to be completely honest. Thank you, Captain Mortified. Thank you, Hayu Shin. Thanks for your insight on important issues. Thank you, Yvonne Finnegan. Thank you, Gary Farrell. I'm fundraising for my family in St. Vincent, who has been displaced by the volcanic eruptions. Would it possible to get some support here? Reach out over Twitter and direct me to the links, the stuff, so I can look into it. Deanna Lynn Hinckley, thank you for your help and understanding stuff going on in the U.S. I think you would be a good CIA analyst. No, thank you. Genuinely curious. What was that? Why, when talking about certain incidents, you mention the city, region, and not the person? For a number of reasons. The most being that in a lot of cases, like if we're talking about somebody who did something bad, you don't want to give them any press. So that's why if you're talking about somebody that went in and hurt a bunch of people, I never say their name. In fact, it's one of the few times you'll hear me insult somebody. I won't use their name. I'll, this loser, this whatever. Because I happen to agree with the idea that giving them press makes it spread. And that's why these things occur in clusters. Now, when it comes to the other side and it's a victim, I almost never name minors. I very rarely, with the exception of the initial coverage of something, will I name somebody who is a victim of police violence. I'll name them in the initial coverage and then won't say anything, won't use their name again. And the reason for that is that I've had a number of people point out that it was really effective to kind of gather the scope of the issue when they have to sit there and think, which one is he talking about? In a lot of cases, I think being vague, as long as you can provide that initial coverage up front, being vague helps people realize the scope of an issue. I do it a lot on a lot of subjects. The only time it really ever comes up is with names, because people feel like the person should be named. And I agree on some levels, but if the goal is to make people, to reach people who don't realize there's a problem yet, making them confused and making them go to Google and try to figure out what you're talking about and then seeing the giant list is pretty effective. Okay, let me find where we were at, because I definitely lost some stuff here. Thank you, LF. Thank you, Deborah Breeden. You know any service dog training for PTSD near Brooksville? I do not. Naomi Poe, thank you. Thank you, KG2199. Always happy to help a good cause. Thank you, Hedon Jonerty. Thank you, Scott Proctor. How's the Tom Cotton watch coming along? Yeah, that's every day. He is not a nice person. So yeah, I'm still doing that. I chose him, so I'm still watching. There will probably be something out about the new caucus here in the next day or so. Thank you, Walter Gordon. Do you think the reason so many at the border are teens is because they're at the age to be recruited, forced to join the gangs and power? In some cases, yes, but a lot of it also has to do with the backlog of people on the other side of the border who would have came as families. And there is probably a feeling among some of them. Picture it like getting off of a sinking ship. Women and children first. They know that an unaccompanied minor will be placed. They will go through that processing, which they know isn't good. But at the end of it, they're going to end up with a sponsor, and they're going to be in the US. They're going to be somewhere safe. I think that has more to do with it than anything. And I think that speaks to how badly we need to widen our acceptance when it comes to refugees. Joshua Brown, thank you. Mahuram, I'm never going to get that. I live in Northern California and shared your video on the dry ratio with a lot of people. It was received well, but some people don't know how to prepare. Can you make another one with prep advice for getting out for fires? Yeah, I'll do that. I will do that. I'll get it out in the next couple of days. Ben Clark is Matt Gates, the natural evolution of Florida man stories. I don't know. And the thing is, you have people here. If you don't know, that's my district. He's my representative. That's horrible, but here it's split. It's split. People are either completely abandoning him or looking at it as, it's some nefarious plot to get him. Can you state the causes you're fundraising for those of us who came in late? Yes. One is we're doing two today. One's a trans lifeline is the name of it. And then the other one is a children's home that operates in the Panhandle. And they have a whole bunch of programs. The one that caught my eye was one for homeless mothers who have an infant. And the program or the organization is really big. So although that's the one that caught my eye, that's the one that in my mind I'm raising the money for. The reality is we're probably just not going to earmark it because they are a big organization and they can put it to whatever use is most immediate. And I have no idea which one of their programs needs it the most. And they're all good. So thank you, a Bo Nut. Hey, Bo, I'm late to the party. What am I donating to? I hope you heard that. Also, how do you feel about aliens? Do you think solidification of their existence would help end racism? Thanks for what you do. I think you would have to be pretty arrogant to believe that there are no other intelligent life forms out there. Whether they've come here or not, I don't have a clue. I think, I don't know. I mean, as far as ending racism, there are always going to want to be people who maintain power by keeping a permanent underclass. And those people they foster it. So I don't know. I don't know. I wish there was a magic bullet that I had. Thank you, Robin Lampley. Thank you, Amber Crystal Doter. Thumbs up for your work and money for the good causes. Thank you. Thank you, War Baby. Thank you, IC Saracen. You cool to go on my Sheikh Abul mind trap to discuss politics and philosophy. I'm hoping in the next couple of months we'll have stuff set up to where I can actually start going on other shows. Right now, my setup really doesn't permit it. With everybody at home, it's really hard just to get these out. But it's definitely something that we will be doing in the future is I'll be going on other shows. Thank you, Brian. Do you have any suggestions on how to get through to people who say the problem isn't capitalism, it's corporate capitalism when you bring up left-wing ideas? Wow. See, when you go down this road, you're probably dealing with somebody who's yellow and black as far as their political ideology. And I tried for a long time to reach that particular group of people and did not have a lot of success. So I don't know. The idea of capitalism is to develop large structures. And when people say corporate capitalism, that's really what they mean. They mean giant businesses. That's the whole purpose of capitalism, is to get to that point, to be one of those giant businesses. I don't think they actually mean, when people say this, I've never known one to actually mean the documentation that creates a separate entity shielded from, that shields the owner from liability. That's normally not what they mean. They mean giant companies. Thank you, Jacqueline Haley. Thank you, Detroit Micro Sound. Can we discuss the Jimmy Dore situation? What do you think is going on there? About? I have no idea what that means. I don't follow a lot of the internal stuff. I try to focus more on the issues at hand rather than the people doing it. That way, I don't end up disliking a policy simply because somebody proposed it that I disliked something else before. So I honestly have no idea what the Jimmy Dore situation is. Okay, it did that jump thing, so let me find out where we're at. There we go. Timothy Ball, thank you. It's an easy name to pronounce. Yeah, thanks. Okay. Thank you, Henning, California, Henning, CA. A bag of kibble for Destro from our Husky Pack. Nice. Otis B, thank you. Well, it seems you were at 300 subs about a year ago. Yes, integrity goes a long way. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. For those that don't know, this channel actually started as a joke, and now it has definitely evolved into something that has been able to create tangible change a couple of times, which is just fantastic. Thank you, Diana Rose. Two great causes. Thanks for all the help you give others. Thank you. Gray1213. Thanks for these causes. Your champion being you. Jimmy James, thank you. Thanks for being a standout voice of logic and reasoning. Thank you, Robert Melius. Thank you, Jackie Hudson, in celebration of my second dose of COVID vax. Paying it forward. Thank you for getting vaccinated. MC Johnston, thank you. Thank you, Danny Valadez. Congrats on 600K. Any updates on the reprogramming resources you had talked about not that long ago? We're looking into it. It definitely looks like something that we're going to be able to do. I was worried about how hard it was going to be to set up, and it really isn't hard. So it looks like something that's going to happen the second we can get a break and sit down and do it all. We have to build playlists and a lot of other like advertising strategies, something that I know absolutely nothing about. But it definitely looks like something we're going to be able to do. Thank you, Derek Espinoza. Thank you, Karen Johansson. Thank you, Sir Vagabond. Thank you, Kimmy Ann. Gates is a rep from my hometown as well. Jordan is my other one. Wow. That hurts. Thank you, Taylor Warzone K. Quick thanks for helping this young boy become a man. Curious if you've experienced any parasocial relationships yet. None that have gotten wild. Like I hear stories that have happened to other people. I haven't had anything like that. I mean, I've had people send stuff that was surprising. And I've had how do I put this delicately? Affections stated that yeah, I don't know about. Like I don't get. But most of my friends who do this, they're women. So it's a very different thing. You know, I get something that is relatively tame and compared to what they get. So I haven't had any major issues. Vanessa McCoon, thank you. How does society create more intelligent, well-spoken people without trauma or other? I don't know, because I mean, I think a lot of times it's the trauma and the other stuff that actually helps do it. Thank you, Terry Coiler. Thank you for giving. Why do the French have so much better MREs than us? Are they just that obsessed with food? I have no idea. And if you have no idea what he's talking about or they're talking about, um, our military rations are not great. They don't look good. They don't taste good. They will keep you alive. And the taste has gotten better from what I've heard. But the French, on the other hand, it's like a little meal that you would expect stereotypically from the French. They used to trade them to American troops to get our MREs, so you could take American MREs home and make fun of the American troops. Um, Thank you, Firebird. What are you growing in your garden now? So I actually haven't put anything new. So it's just the stuff that comes back. So I have asparagus, apples, pears, grapes, bananas, oranges, like the tree stuff. Um, and it looks like the potatoes came back. But yeah, I didn't plant anything new yet. I've been a little occupied, but we will get something out soon. The good thing about being in this climate is you can do it pretty much whenever. Thank you, Michelle McCain. Thank you, Jacob Hicks. Thank you, Depressed Angry Buddha. Bubba. Green Energy Advocate here. Bo, do you know about thorium MSRs? If not, would you watch Thorium Remix 2011 and consider doing a vid? I'll put it on my stuff to watch. And we'll see how it goes from there. Are you thinking about a political career? No, absolutely not. I think that I'm pretty effective right where I am. I'm very happy with the way all of this is working and what we're able to accomplish, and I can do it my way. And I think this is where I belong. I may be one of the few people that don't. I don't have further aspirations. I'm pretty cool where I'm at. Thank you, Valerie. Thanks for all you do. Rule 3 of 3. Have you caught any of the meteor showers that have been going on this month? No, it is constantly raining here. we can't see anything. That's why there's been a slow output of videos for the last week and a half. Thank you, Christian Schroeder. The thank yous were getting repetitive. Nice. Thank you, Keenan Miller. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Thank you, Tracy King. Thank you, Susie Rose. Would you consider doing a call-in show where people can call and discuss the show topic with you for a few minutes? I always have so many questions. That's something that at some point, when we get a studio built, we're going to do something like that. The growth of the channel kind of surprised us. We don't have the infrastructure needed to do a lot of the stuff that we want to. But we are working on putting it together. Jojo, thank you greetings from Central Europe. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Boyd Huff. Modern day Paul Harvey. I don't know. I might need to hear the rest of that story. Thank you, Nancy Funk. Thank you, Real Wolf. What publicly available news sources do you recommend as largely unbiased and reliable? I use the wires a lot, like AP, Reuters. Now Reuters is about to go behind a paywall, and it's like $30 a month, which what? But those are the ones that I have used. They normally break stuff pretty quick. So they give you bare bones facts without a lot of spin. There is some, but it's stuff that you can see through pretty quickly. So that's where I would recommend. That's what I would start with. And then again, I look to a lot of trade magazines about the topic you're interested in. Thank you, Brandon Vecchio. What motivates you to keep fighting for something we know is out of reach in our lifetime? I mean, I could say something like plant the tree that you're never going to enjoy the shade of and all of that stuff. The reality is somebody has to. Like, you don't have a choice. You're either going to accept the status quo or you're going to try to move forward. So thank you, Kevin P. Thank you, Daniel Frayne. Whatever cause you're behind, we're behind. Oh, quick update since it has been a few minutes. Today, the causes are it's called Trans Lifeline. It helps get legal documentation for people who have transitioned or are in the process of it. And they have other services as well, but that's the one everybody told me like they're going to need money. And then a children's home that has a lot of good programs that we're going to be working with. So we're dividing this money between those two. Slytherin. Jennifer, to make it easy, thank you. Much love to you and the internet people. Thanks specifically for supporting the trans community during this legislative mess. Yeah, it's a disaster. Thank you, Moo Young. Here's some good cheer in spite of a week of bad. Yep, we got this. Thank you, Frank Noge. Keep up the good work. Would love to hear more about your garden when and if the news cycle leaves room for less serious videos. Alex Martin, which Mighty Ducks movie is the best and why is it D2? Thank you, AJ Chapellery. Thank you, Sir No Pants. I don't know the two causes, but here's some for both. Thank you, Luis Brooks. First time catching you live. I've worked with military sexual assault program for 16 years. Loved your Cuomo breakdown. Thank you, ISIS 9. Thank you, HI. Some for both of those good causes. Thank you, Maria Prado. Thank you, William Calestro. My conservative on steroids boss tells me I'm un-American for not supporting Trump. I'm a 6-year military vet. How would you respond to such nonsense? Oh, man. I would point out that the absolute most American thing is to look at policy over party and ask him to explain what policies that Trump proposed that he liked. Normally, if they are huge fans of Trump, they literally don't know what his policies were. Thank you, Woody Woodman. Thank you for all the topics you cover and the good you inspire in the world. Hope everyone is having a blessed day. Thank you, Alex Watnan. Greetings from Upper Michigan. I often use your videos to pull my rural friends to the left. Kathleen Sylvie, thank you. Sean Brewer, thank you. I quote you a lot when talking or debating with people I know. As a result, liberals and progressives tend to think I'm smarter than I am. The conservatives roll their eyes a lot. Thank you, David Craig. Thank you, Bloodroot. Thank you, Mr. P. Pouch. Can you take a second to talk about division of families because of the vaccine? Yeah, that's, the thing is, this is one of these, I don't know how helpful I'm going to be because not in my immediate family, but like just outside, we're having this same issue. Like, and it's with people, like I have family members who were in the military and vaccinated against everything under the sun. And they don't want to get this. And I don't have any help. Like, I don't know what to do. Nothing I have tried has worked. So if I figure something out, I definitely will. Thank you, SK Hartling. Thank you, Leona Rose. Been with you since just over 100,000 viewers. Appreciate your thoughts on all suspects. Thank you, Lady Cat. Thank you, Lawhoff95. Thank you, Sean Dennis. Thank you, Alicia O'Toole. Just joined, but your cause is always awesome. Thank you, McEwens. Thank you, SK Hartling. Thank you, Caroline Thew. Thank you, Carol Trapp. Thank you, Mary Weaver. Thank you, Dalen Hop. Thank you, Eric Kennedy. Thank you, Jadon Slaughter. Do you plan on doing interviews again soon? Are there any people you would particularly want to interview? Yeah, I have. We have our list built back up, and as soon as we can get to multiple times a week where I can actually do one and it's quiet enough to do one, we're going to restart doing that. And we'll hopefully do at least once a month. I would like to do one a week. And we do have some people that we're very hopeful to get, and we have talked to, and we're just trying to work out the logistics on some of it. Thank you, Breaded Husser. Already got my first vaccine. We'll be getting my second in a couple weeks. Not to distract from more important issues, but I just had one of those French MREs, and they're better than the food you usually get as a civilian. What is DOD spending their money on? Overhead, defense contractors. Yeah, you have people Googling this, and honestly, you should Google image French MRE and then click, and just take a look and compare it to what's in an American one. Thank you, I Hunt. Thank you. I'm just not even going to try that. I'm going to butcher that name. Thank you for your work. There seems to be great danger in the next French presidential election. Marine Le Pen has a decent shot at the seat. Thoughts? I don't know. I haven't been looking at it that closely. I've been trying. I feel like I'm neglecting a lot of foreign policy stuff right now, particularly in countries that are typically seen as stable. Because I'm focused on what's going on here. I'm going to have to do some catch up on a lot of stuff. Thank you, Philip Hampton. You've taught me a lot with your videos. How do you think we could work on a personal level to defeat stuff like toxic masculinity and push towards a more wholesome form? I have a series of videos on this, and I actually think it's like, let's talk about masculinity. I think one of the key things that's missing is people are focusing on masculinity being equated with the ability to do violence, and that's not what it is. I think that there should be a lot of nurturing of the creative aspects of things. But it's, yeah, that's where I would go. Like if you're looking for something that you can do personally, I would focus on nurturing the creative aspects, the sides of it that do have is literally nothing to do with violence or being a tough guy. Thank you, James Lewis. Trans Lifeline also has a crisis hotline. Yes, that's also true. They have a bunch of programs. When I looked into it, the reason we chose them is quite literally because the trans people I know were like, they're going to need help. That's it. So I don't, I know what they told me, and I looked into it and looked at like the bare bones of their financials. And then that was it. That was enough for me. When the people who have used the service are telling you it's a good thing, it's a good thing. Thank you, Kelly Horton. Thank you, O'Darn. Have you checked out Jeb Gardner on YouTube yet? He grows plants in different ways. I think the community would enjoy it. Also, a guy named Larry Hall in the rain gutter grow system. I'll definitely look at that. That sounds something bizarre that I would be interested in. Thank you, Radical Eyes. Here's to 600K people who give hope for a better future. Thank you, Caprica 6. We need to hear so valuable. Thank you. What does this one say? What are your thoughts on what Manchin said recently? Do you think Democrats have any way of pushing legislation with filibuster reform? I think if they don't reform the filibuster, if they don't find some kind of way around it, the amount of stuff they're going to be able to get done is going to be severely limited. So unless there is a caucus within the Republican Party that is ready to break, if they need 60 votes, they're not going to get far. Thank you, Despot Ocosmos. Appreciate your information and your support for communities in need. Thank you, Deanna Turner. What do you think of Candace Owens trying to get Trump reelected? Yeah, I'm really, I'm hopeful that Trump is out of the political world. Thank you, Element 114. Have you seen Seaspiracy? If so, what are your thoughts? I haven't. We've actually been without without internet and power at times this last week. It's been uncomfortable here. Thank you, Amanda Tickenen. Appreciate your encouragement to home gardeners, especially reminding you can get seeds and food-bearing plants with SNAP benefits. Your SNAP card can be used to buy that. I'm planting my own garden while streaming today. Let's see. Thank you, Anna Pascone. Asking the most important question: where do we get our hands on these French MREs? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be exported. I would imagine they would, but they'd probably they would probably be very expensive because they would certainly be a novelty. But it's worth it's worth looking into. I imagine they'd probably be like $50 or something. Vernon McCall, what do you think about China flying bombers, fighters and bombers over Taiwanese sovereign waters? That's part of that Cold War era flexing that we're going to see a lot of. I don't know that it means anything specific at this point. It could just be testing the waters. I mean, quite literally in this case. But it's that type of stuff. Those kinds of tensions, they rise and fall when you're dealing with near peers all the time. I don't know that it is going to provoke anything serious, although I would point out this is a definite real hot spot. Like this is a flashpoint where something could go wrong. Thank you, Jonah. We want to send you our startup state and federal framework to prevent future outbreaks while maintaining individual privacy. You can send it via Twitter or, yeah, I mean, that would be the easiest way. Or I can put out an email address somewhere if you want. Thank you, Laura Carlson. Thank you, Fred Durham. Thank you, Jennifer Gridley. Thank you. $10 is from my son, Alex. Thank you, Motto Man. Your energy for so training topics is baffling and inspiring. Thank you, Lorelei Freeman. Thank you, Dan L. Values. Thank you, Bowowski. Hey, Bo, love what you do. Really dig the t-shirts you wear too. I'm expecting to see you sitting across from Bill Maher in the coming months. Okay, this is the last time, I promise, but the French MRE had a salmon pate as a starter for the dinner, and it had chocolate. It had hot chocolate. I don't want a war in Africa, but I don't ever want to eat a U.S. MRE again. like there is a certain subset of people who have sampled both that are laughing hysterically at these comments. Because it is the difference between like the burgers at McDonald's that have been in the warmer for hours and like eating at a sit down restaurant. Like it's a pretty substantial difference between the two meals. Thank you, Davy Baby. Thank you, Multi Zombie Killer 201. This is in support of my best friend who just transitioned. Also, what do you think about Cuomo saying they only that they'll will bring police reform is unarmed white kids being shot by the police? That must have happened this morning or late last night. It hasn't really crossed my stuff yet. Yeah, that is not a that's not it. People are waiting for that moment, for that horrible incident that's going to wake people up. There's been plenty of horrible incidents. That is not going to be it. That's not going to be the thing that wakes people up. If we're looking at, if it's going to be white kids getting killed, I would imagine that that there have been enough incidents of that occurring to cause that. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be a systemic thing where people realize that the fundamental nature of the way law enforcement conducts itself right now is bad. Felicia McGray, thank you. Trina Lee, thank you. Kitcha C, thank you. Do you think the DOJ might circle back to the Mueller report? I don't know. I have no idea. I think they worry that going after Trump is going to elevate his status in some ways among the more fervent supporters of him. And there are a lot of people who want to, quote, protect the institution of the presidency. And those people probably don't want any scandal beyond politics. It doesn't matter who it is. They don't want that scandal. I am not a supporter of this theory. I think if you want to protect the institution of the presidency, you have to have accountability. Lawhoff 95, thank you. I think I want to leave Texas. Texas bill to carry gun without a permit advances to state senate. Thank you, Princess Sparkle of the Resistance. Thank you, Mr. RPG Gamer. Just a small dono. Thank you for the content, keeping me informed on things that I would normally have no insight. Can't think of a good question, so I hope you and the family are all right. We're doing good. Thank you. Thank you, Super Catman. Hello from a soon-to-be snowy Montana. Thank you, Jacob Smith. Thoughts on the troop withdrawal in Afghanistan. I've put out a couple videos on that. I do not understand. If we're going to leave, we need to leave. I don't know why we would stay beyond the deadline. If I don't understand what he's doing, I feel like there's a piece that isn't publicly known. I think there's a piece of this strategy, or there's a piece of something that's going on that we don't know. And I'm kind of waiting and listening, trying to figure out what it is. If the idea is to leave, then we need to leave. If the idea is to stay until there's a replacement token security force or whatever, that needs to be stated. I do not understand. Everybody knew it was a bad idea when Trump gave an arbitrary deadline to be out. And then Biden says that's a bad idea and then sets a new one. I don't get it. I don't understand that. Thank you, Ben Lester. Thank you, Dark One Andy. Thank you, Galaxus. Do you ever do video collaborations with people who were talked down from a bad group? Would you ever want to do something like that? I've never done it, but I would. I mean, I guess I have done one, but it was unintentional. I actually didn't know the person's background before before it started. Um, Thank you, Caper here. Dr. John Campbell update. 4 more people. I'm not sure. Suffering from MR. Trillium T. Thank you, Wiccan. Thank you, Alexander Gayton. Happy to help good causes, but what do you do? What do you think is the most effective way to lobby for change regarding how policing is done in America? At the absolute, you have 2 options. You can go to the local level, and if you are in an area like I am, that works. That works. At the local level, you can get substantial changes if you are in a small community. As far as major cities, we are probably at the point where there's going to need to be national accreditation, standardized training, and basically, if you step outside of policy, you're not covered. That's probably what it's going to take. But thank you, Roman York. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you, Jacob Smith. What should the U.S. do about? Yeah, I don't know. That's one that I've been looking at. I've been looking at it. There's a blend of stuff going on there. And the one thing I can say is I talked about this a year ago. It's definitely an issue. It is an issue. Right now, it's being propagandized. Now understand that's not saying that it's not happening. It's definitely occurring. But I'm not sure what the solution is there. I don't know. And there are so many moving parts to that I don't I would need a lot more information that the public doesn't have access to come up with anything that is even remotely actually a good idea. Thank you, Anna Pescone. What's your advice to convince the government to seriously take on the fact that there are areas in my state, Rhode Island, that will be underwater in 15 years? You have, and I'll be doing a video on this soon too. There's a bill right now that requires large companies to make disclosures about what they are doing to mitigate the risk for themselves. And I think that that's going to have way more impact than people believe, because there's going to be a lot of large companies that say, hey, we're planning on shutting this factory down or this location down in 10 years because it's going to be underwater. And I think that that's going to help prompt action. I don't even know that was its intended reason, but I think that's what's going to happen from it. Now, as far as getting stuff done at the local level, you're going to have to shift thought of a community that more than likely doesn't want to accept the realities of it. And doing that individually is going to be very difficult. It can be done, but it's going to require a lot, and it's going to require a network of people helping. Thank you, Jordan Fry. Congrats on all the subs. My dad introduced me to your channel. Considering that I'm the family leftist and he's a moderate through and through, I think your approach to these topics works as intended. Thank you, Thomas Asaze. Your voice is much needed and much appreciated. 2 Qs and 1 demand. Q1, have you ever reached out to the Smith Speaks? Yeah, we've actually briefly spoken. And he's not that far. So we may end up meeting up once our society reopens. Have you ever considered having this lawyer Jeff Robinson on as a guest? I have no, I haven't, because I don't know who that is. I'll have to look into him. One demand put to good use. Yeah, this money, all of this money is going to good causes. So thank you, MS Honeybee 30. Thank you, Alan Summervoid. Thank you, Lost at Sea. Thank you, Brian Reed. Thank you, Annie Rose. Thank you, Kimmy Ann. Thank you for helping all of us that lost our family to the queue. I'm leaving the chat, but please also make that wildfires video and talk about French MREs. Thank you, Cooper. Thank you, Abdul McKinney. Say hi to me. Hi. Thank you, Dax Roger. What do you think the verdict will be? I don't know. I've looked at it. I think the prosecution did a pretty good job. Now it's in the hands of the jury. I don't know. Thank you, Element 114. How do you think the U.S. will handle mass interstate migration stemming from resource depletion, water scarcity, and climate change issues? I have no clue. Y'all are asking some tough questions today. So theoretically, there are plans to deal with mass migration within the United States. However, we've noticed that these plans that have been developed for decades don't get enacted when the time comes. So I don't know. There are plans for moving large populations of people and reestablishing them elsewhere. That's a thing. We developed them during the Cold War. To deal with the aftermath if things went really bad. But the one thing I have noticed is that even though these plans exist and they've been around and they've been updated, when the time comes, we don't use them. And it's infuriating, to be honest. John Lanham, thank you. Paul PJ, thank you. Christine Esser School, I'm hoping. I don't know. It doesn't have the end there. There are times when I've watched your videos and you end with, you'll have a nice day, which is nice, but some of your subjects are, the world is ending tomorrow. Yeah, well, have a nice day until then. You got to stay positive. David VG, thank you. Ever listen to the Young Turks on YouTube? Occasionally I do. Liam Daly, thank you. How would you describe where the GOP is at now and where they're headed? They are at a crossroads, and I don't know where they're going. You have factions forming up. You have the ultra far right. You have that new America First caucus. And then you have moderates who are trying to return to like Bush era Republicanism. The problem is that a lot of that is now Democrat policy. So I have no clue. Like there's a lot of stuff at play. From what I see, it appears that the Trump movement is losing ground, but that's from the outside looking in. I don't know about private discussions. Thank you, Brian Kimbrough. Man Guy 77. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. So one last time, the money raised today will be going. Thank you, Weiser. The money raised today will be going to two different causes. It'll be split up. One is Trans Lifeline, and then the other is a children's home, a network of stuff. The one that caught my eye was one that does stuff for homeless teen moms with an infant. But we're going to give it to the whole network, and they can decide to use it wherever the needs are. So thank you, Anna LA. I'm just joining, so no question. You may have already covered. Thank you, Parker Ponders. Really appreciate all perspectives you take into account. Looking forward to supporting your continuing work. Thank you. Okay. And we've been doing this for an hour now, so we are going to wrap it up. I really appreciate this. And I appreciate all the support. We are now at 600,000 subscribers. That's the other reason we're doing the video. Um, and I really appreciate it. We have been able to do a lot in a pretty short amount of time, and we're able to impact some real change and help people, which is way more than I ever expected from this when it started. So, and while I get all the credit, I would again like to point out that in 90% of cases, I'm the shipping clerk that handles your work. So I just want to thank y'all again. Thank you, Nita B. Thank you, Solar 19. Thank you, Rioritia Rocks. I killed that name, I'm sure. Thank you, The Grinch. Thank you, Kelly Green. Long time fan, laid off. Marketing and PR. Happy to donate. Thank you, Kelly Green. Thank you, Cottage Rose. Thank you, Richard Starr. Post a total on Twitter, please. Yeah, it takes a couple of days. Like basically YouTube won't tell us how much we made probably till Wednesday is when we'll actually get the total. It may come in on Tuesday. But it probably won't be till Wednesday. And yeah, we will definitely post it and put it out there. Thank you, Sarah Rayland. Thank you, Bad Pirate Monkey. Thank you, Nanya N.A. Memphis is my old stomping ground, so I Googled Jeff Robinson. Very briefly, ACLU lawyer speaking out against mass incarceration. We would probably have some stuff to talk about. Greg S., thank you. G. Smith, thank you. Beth Perry, thank you. You help me keep the faith. Looking for more community building here. Thank you, Liam Daly. Thank you, Julie B. Thank you, Edward Adams. Thank you, Kate Thaler. Okay, I appreciate it. Appreciate all the help, all the support that y'all have given me over the last couple of years and how this has grown. Keep your chins up. We'll be all right. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.